So before this review begins, I just want to give a big shout out to a friend of mine called Phil. He's just started up his own hairdressing business. He's been a hairdresser for years, but now he's just decided to go at it on his own. He's worked in the hairdressing industry for years. He's been a creative, artistic director. I think that's his title. So he hasn't just come from a barbershop and is doing his own thing. He's literally come from a very creative background for big companies. He cut my hair today, but he's not just looking for males to cut hair. He mostly cuts and colours female hair, basically. It's not really, you know, most of his clients are female. Don't worry, you won't end up with a haircut like mine if you're female, don't worry. But I just wanted to put the word out there because he's a friend of mine, and I just want to put I hope I just can bring some more clientele his way if anyone's watching this who lives in the Liverpool region. So yeah, his name's Phil Gallagher, and Phil, if you're watching this, I wish you all the best for your venture. Now let's go to that Judy review.
I'm sorry it's so late.
Miss Carl.
Oh, please. I'm Judy.
I'm very sorry, but your suite has been released.
What do you mean, released? Where exactly has it gone?
Your account was in arrears.
So I'll be honest from the start that I hardly know anything about Judy Garland except for that she was in The Wizard of Oz. And this film, it's set 30 years after The Wizard of Oz, where she's struggling for a bit of money, has some ongoing problems with her ex-husband and the kids, and she takes up some work in London to hopefully try and raise some money for her to hopefully provide for her family. So the film begins 30 years ago on the set of The Wizard of Oz, which is great because if you don't know much about Judy, you're kind of thrown into that world where you kind of know her from. And then it cuts to 30 years later where it spends most of the time and where we see Renée Zellweger playing Judy Garland, who I think is the one and only thing that stands out from this film. As much as that opening scene on the set of The Wizard of Oz, it looks beautiful. You think the film's going to be like that the whole way through. It's going to look really beautiful, but it's not. It's really not. For me, the film didn't really get more magical than the opening scene. If you look at it from a production point of view, you can see it's just Oscar fodder, basically, with the Oscars coming up in about like 4 to 5 months, probably, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, you can see it's a film that's looking probably for some kind of Oscar nomination. And to be honest, I think the only thing in the film that deserves any Oscar nomination is the performance of Judy Garland by Renée Zellweger. Everything else surrounding her portrayal of that character, it just wasn't that good. I felt the story was just really weak. I felt the rest of the characters in the film weren't engaging enough. I mean, I don't know if this is because Renée just did such a good performance that she basically shadowed, everyone else was in the shadows, around her. I don't know what it was, but it's just, yeah, the other characters weren't engaging. The story, I don't think the story was good at all. And she's facing this thing where her and her husband are fighting over the kids, but it's not really that big a deal. Obviously, I'm not a parent, I don't understand this. So I guess if you're a single parent and you watch this, you might understand a bit more. But for me, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel the stakes were high in this film at all. I did have some favourite bits. I mean, my favourite bits in there were the parts where it kept flashing back to the age she was when she was, in The Wizard of Oz. I like those bits because you find out like how she belonged to MGM Studios. There were parts in her later life where there's a couple of bits that stood out where she meets a gay couple. Those parts are really great. And there was another part when she had like a visit to her doctor. That part was great as well. That was it. I actually really enjoyed the flashbacks more than the actual story of her of her later life. But the flashbacks only add up to about like 5 to 10 minutes of the film. And I felt when I was watching this film, I just felt like I was just waiting for it to end. And we all know that, that Somewhere Over the Rainbow is going to be the finale, it's all going to end. And we all knew, I knew that from the moment I got in there. I didn't think it was going to start with that film. It's the most famous song she's really ever done. And, that comes right at the end. But I have to say, those last 2 minutes, they are really good last 2 minutes. It's such a great finale to the film. But, you can see, it felt like it's just a film that's just been waiting for that ending. So it's this really kind of like bit of a weak story just for the leading to this one great finale. It's like someone had the idea, let's put Somewhere Over the Rainbow at the end of the film. Don't know what we're going to do with the rest of it though, but we'll just stick it in there. Sorry, that's my phone going off. So yeah, I'm really sorry to say it's not a film for me. It's nothing against Renée Zellweger's performance because she is amazing in this film. She is really good. I mean, she was so convincing. It wasn't like you were watching, Renée Zellweger. It's like you're watching Judy Garland. It was really incredible. But this wasn't a film for me. I think if you've got an interest in Judy Garland, or if you've been interested in that whole golden cinema age, whatever it's called, you're gonna love all that because it's got there's like about 4 cabaret pieces in there. It's got a couple of songs in there as well. But for me, it was really Renée Zellweger's performance that just just stood out from this film, which I don't think was a great film, but she just keeps you engaged the whole time. She's great. I really can't praise her enough for what she did in this film. It's just incredible. I think this is the 4th biographical film in the last 12 months. We had Bohemian Rhapsody, we had Rocket Man, you had Stan and Ollie, and now you've got Judy. I forgot the name of it then. Damn. I only saw it 5 minutes ago. Goldfish memory. Anyway, so yeah, there's been 4 biographical films. So yeah, you got those 4 films. But I feel the weaker ones have been the Stan and Ollie and the Judy ones. Both were BBC films. But I think the reasons why Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocket Man was so great, because with the Queen songs and the Elton John songs, everyone knows them. They're very universal. They produce such great energy, and those songs, like, everyone knows those songs. So I have to say that out of those 4 films, I really just have to say that Judy is on the same level as Stan and Ollie. I think it's no better and it's no greater than that film. Both were made by the same production company. But I think if you're looking for something that's going to be like Bohemian Rhapsody or Rocket Man, this is nothing like that. But if you like films that are like Stan and Ollie, this is pretty much like that. So if you like Stan and Ollie, you're going to like this one as well.
I just want what everybody wants. I just seem to have a harder time getting it.
Do you take anything for depression?
4 husbands. Didn't work. There's a land that I... You won't forget me, will you? In a land. Promise you won't.